Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye. Bye. Let's get straight to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I highly appreciate the support. So Muhammad Insane, right? Not Muhammad Hussein, but Insane in the membrane. The real life Grand Theft Auto took place in San Jose, California, and it was off the hook. You had cops getting hit in the head with bullets. You had suspects getting ran over. You had Corvettes being stolen all over the Bay Area. You had Corvettes being stolen all the way from Sacramento to Hollister to San Jose, and then ended up in chaos. That's the word on the curb right now. People are really tripping. Was this a use of deadly force, or is this a situation where force definitely had to be used that ended up deadly? I'll let you guys decide that. But let me tell you what happened. Muhammad Hussein, allegedly, the victim in this situation, and I say the victim because he ended up being, of course, deceased at the end of this Grand Theft Auto mission he was on, got victimized in a real way, but not before he created a lot of other victims in the San Jose community, the Hollister community, and actually the Sacramento community as well. So last week, this man was seen stealing a red Corvette from a Sacramento dealership, okay? The license plates were noted, and everything was, as it seems, just another man who stole another car. Now, I'll tell you, back in our days, when you did a Grand Theft Auto with GTA, you were definitely getting popped pretty fast, right? They were on you. Unless you took your shit to the chop shop and got it chopped up, then you were winning. But usually when you steal a car in the state of California, they're on you. Now, other states don't trip. There's a lot of others, and I'm not going to say all of them, but there's a lot of states where once your vehicle is taken, hey, that's pretty much on you. They'll put an APB out. They'll look for it. Lightweight, but it's no big thing. In California, it's a little bit different because usually when cars are stolen in California, it leads to more criminality. There's going to be a lot more criminal situations behind that stolen car. No one's just stealing the car nowadays to joyride. They're usually stealing a vehicle to go out and commit more crime in that stolen vehicle so it doesn't trace back to them. So cops are always on the lookout for stolen vehicles because they know usually 9 times out of 10, there's guns in the car, there's drugs in the car, there's gang members in that car. Those are the types of individuals usually stealing a car unless cars are getting stolen for a crime ring, right? Now, this guy Muhammad Hussein, for whatever his reasons were, decided to go all out and become a real-life GTA character. So he steals the car from the dealership, the red Corvette in Sacramento, and takes it to where he lives in San Jose, California. Now, of course, somewhere along the lines, cops got hip to the point that this vehicle was now in the city of San Jose, and they came up across the car, but they could not find the suspect. He took off on foot. He was gone. He steals another Corvette from a dealership in San Jose, California, right? A green Corvette, and starts taking the cops on a high-speed chase. Somehow they were able to locate him due to, I think it's the license plate readers, and he makes it all the way to Hollister, California. While in Hollister, he commits several more robberies, and he gets into a straight-up shootout with the police there. Now, in the midst of this, he carjacks an older woman for this white vehicle that you've seen on the thumbnail and takes the cops on a high-speed chase from city to city, county to county, all the way back into San Jose, California. When he arrives in San Jose, California, now there's all points bulletin. Now they kind of know who this guy is. Now they know that he's committed several robberies in the past week and a half, several carjackings, several stealings of cars. So now they're on him, okay? And a high-speed chase, 45 miles from Hollister to San Jose, California. That's with the shootout. They're shooting it out. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. You know, the city of San Jose woke up to people, the buzzing going on social media, people saying, hey, there's something going on the freeway. They got things locked down. There's several cops. There's a police chase going on live. And a lot of videos were sent into social media of that. when there's shooting going back and forth, and I'm going to tell people, man, if you ever see anything like that shooting back and forth, duck. Don't record, just fucking duck, right? Because you can catch a hot one. But this guy decides to do the real life GTA. He just like the game, man, that a lot of our children play. I don't allow that game in my household. I had it before. My nephew wanted to play it. I just didn't think it was the type of game for him to play. Any game that kind of where you could snatch someone up out their car, you could steal vehicles, you can kill people, you can have shootouts with the cops. That's just, to me, doesn't symbolize the type of positivity I want my family to be around, right? It's more negative than anything, but it's a game. And there's going to be people that advocate for it's just a game until situations like this happen. Now, I don't know if the GTA game was in this guy's mind when he did what he did, but it definitely pretty much resembles the Grand Theft Auto game, and it was played out in real life. And it ended just like the game ends, in either incarceration or death, right? How many times have you played that game and you got smacked and then you just come right back? Well, this guy will never come right back. And there's a lot of families, a lot of people in the community of San Jose, Hollister, Sacramento that are devastated because there was a lot of things that happened. There could have been people hit. There was a police officer that was shot in the head because of this situation. Let me explain to you what happens. So as this guy is wiggling from Hollister to San Jose and taking what was reported over 50 cop cars on a high-speed police chase, he was able to make it all the way from Hollister to San Jose. Now, how they didn't throw spikes out, how they didn't put a roadblock up is beyond me. But maybe because he was armed and dangerous and engaging in gunfire with the police, they decided the best route was to let him get wherever he was going and somehow set up a situation there in San Jose where they could impede his progress and snatch him up. It all came to a head right downtown near the county jail. Now, I was just at the county jail about 8 months ago. Actually went into, not at the county jail, but right across from the county jail is the courthouse. And I was actually in the courthouse with a friend of mine. He had a court case, and there was Gunners Collective sitting there in San Jose in the courthouse, rethinking my whole life. How the fuck did I end up here? Got recognized and everything. Some lawyer was like, hey, I'll be watching you. What's up? I was like, oh, snap, right? The last thing I want to do, there was hella dudes locked up because, let me tell you a little story about that. There was hella dudes locked up, when they're coming out, they're sitting there, they're in the blues or whatever they're wearing for the San Jose County Jail. They're mean mugging me because they recognize me and I'm doing the right, knowing damn well these motherfuckers want to whack me. But I remember that day precisely, man. The homeboy had to do what he had to do, and I'm sitting there trying to be quiet, hat off and shit, just sitting there. And there's a J-Cat came out, and I remember he was screaming and talking shit to the police officers and talking shit to the judge. And there was children present because there was actually a woman that had several DUIs, and she was going into custody that day. And she was stressed out because there was no one there to watch her kids, and they were trying to figure out an aunt coming or a friend coming. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, man, you have kids. What are you doing drinking like that? But whatever, right? It wasn't my business, but it was definitely business I was paying attention to. And as I'm in the courthouse kind of looking around, because it's been a long time since I've been in the courthouse, and my first time ever in a Santa Clara County courthouse, San Jose, right? This guy comes out, like I said, he's talking big shit, and dudes are like, hey, bro, there's kids here, and he's not caring. He's a J-Cat. He's on a good one. And I remember he gets into it with the judge, and the judge is like, remove him from the courtroom. And he's talking shit to the cops. You ain't going to do nothing. You ain't about nothing. They snatch him up, and they take him right outside the room, and you could hear some repercussions for his actions happening. He was getting ba-da-bop. And no, stop, please. I'll never do it again. I know, I'm sure you won't. Needless to say, he never came back in the courtroom. But that was the courthouse I was at, and that was what I seen in about a 10-minute period. Now, this crash where Mohammed Hussein, who stole all these vehicles, it ended up right there near the courthouse, near the county jail in San Jose. And he crashed into a post and got out and engaged in gunfire and actually tried to steal a cop's vehicle. So he shoots a cop in the head, to which the cop has survived his wounds and he's in stable condition right now. But he shoots this cop in the head and tries to steal the cop's patrol car. He runs on foot and is literally rammed down by police officers. Now, there's a lot of people, a big outcry right now, saying that was police brutality. It was overkill. It was an injustice. Look, we're talking about a man, and I'm going to give you guys my perspective and how I feel about the situation. We're talking about a man who was creating havoc along about 3 different counties, majorly in 3 different cities, big cities: Sacramento, San Jose, and Hollister. Right, Hollister not as big as San Jose and Sacramento, but still, a man who was stealing vehicles, didn't seem to have any regard for human life, didn't care about anyone, didn't care about anyone's property. You know, when you're out there stealing from people in a community, when you're out there not giving a fuck about anyone and what they got going on, then why should people care about what you got going on? But it always seems to be that way. It always seems to be the criminals or the people that are acting out when something bad happens to them, when there's repercussions for their actions. Then all of a sudden, all these Karens and all these crybabies want to come out of nowhere and be fucking protesting and saying, hey, why'd you guys do him like that? Well, he would have did you like that. You know, whatever happens, happens. When you take your life into your hands, your life is definitely in your hands. When you let it get out of your hands, so be it. In this case, this man was rammed down by the police officers. Now, I actually have a friend from San Jose who has actual footage. I mean, dead on, real good footage of what exactly happened. There was an apartment complex that was nearby, and people were recording from the apartment complex. So, I mean, real in-depth footage that, of course, I cannot release. But I will say, man, it shows pretty much accurately everything that happened. Was this guy in the wrong? Absolutely, he was in the wrong. He's shooting into a crowded area. He's engaging in a shootout with police officers with no regards for human life, with no regards for people. That old lady, what about that old lady that got carjacked in Hollister, snatched up out of her car and thrown to the ground, and her vehicle stolen? Did that man have any regards for her? Not at all. If he had, he wouldn't have done that to an older lady. But instead, he was more worried about his freedoms and the illegal criminal activity he was involved in and trying to get away. Now, I understand about getting away. You know, when the cops are pursuing you and it's fight or flight and you're willing to flight, you got to do what you got to do. That's part of the criminal world. But when you're taking advantage of people, throwing them out of their vehicles, and then it ends up that you're ran over by a vehicle or shot by police officers, no one can cry spilled milk. Milk was getting spilt the whole time. And this guy was the creator of the chaos, the creator of Grand Theft Auto. Okay, so this is what San Jose is buzzing about right now. This is what California is buzzing about right now. The real life Grand Theft Auto being played out. Now, what does that say about games like this that influence our children? They see things like this happen. They see these games, and there's some kids that don't have a stable a household. And all they know is these video games. All they see is what they see on social media. And they're like, some of them think it's cool. Damn, he really did that. I'm going to do it next. A lot of copycats, right? And let me tell you, the situation is going to end up just the same. They'll be lucky if they get a lifetime of incarceration. But it'll probably end up more tragic than they fucking believe it will. And you got to understand, you can't just press pause or fast forward or rewind or none of these things that you press on these games. You can't just stop the game and come back later. When you're in that real life situation, it's all out. Okay. And that's what Mohammed Hussein did. Now, what's the background on this guy? He's a Somalian American, meaning he's of Somalian descent that was living here in America, right? Now, does that make it a situation? Because people are trying to say, oh, they used improper force or overkill because he was an immigrant or this or that. That really had zero to do with it. He could have been Mike Tyson with a bigger gap in his tooth running around shooting at people, and he would have probably got the same outcome. It's just the way it is. But it's crazy to me how people make it something it isn't, something it ain't, something that's not, and something that's never going to be, right? What it really was an individual that wanted to go out and steal vehicles, probably come up, probably sell them or whatever he was trying to do. A lot of properties there, right? And at the end of the day, he got found out and he decided, you know what? Hey, I'm going to go all out with this shit. And all out he did. You know, taking these cops on the high-speed chase and crashing into people and stealing vehicles and carjacking and doing all that. Ultimately, he ended up, like I said, downtown San Jose near the county jail and the courthouse, where he wrecked and decided he was going to engage in a straight-up shootout, GTA style, with the police officers, and did shoot an officer in the head. You know, it's a situation now where what do you expect the officers to do? And I'm going to tell you guys right now, just like prison, right? And I equate a lot of things to prison because that's where I did the majority of my life, right? Being incarcerated. Just like the videos I did the other day on the Green Wall. If you fuck with the cops, you disrespect them, you spit at them, you try to hit them, you try to engage in battling, you get whimsical and act crazy, right? Let me tell you what's going to happen to you. not only are you going to lose, but you're going to lose very badly. And you're going to continue to lose if you're able to survive that first loss. And you're going to lose throughout your whole term, because everywhere you go, these cops all stick together, and they're going to understand that you have assaultive behavior towards an officer. And maybe after years and years and years of punishment and elevator rides and running into officers that feel some type of way, it might slow down, but that's a big maybe. Okay, usually don't. They're going to leave doors unlocked, put you with your enemies. They're going to find ways that you fall downstairs and things happen to you. It's just part of the game. You want to assault an officer, you want to disrespect an officer, now that it's a must that we fuck with you. And that's how they're going to do it. When I say we, I don't mean me and them. I'm just saying the song, right? That's just how that goes. So when this guy chose to actively start shooting at police officers, now he's a threat. He's a threat to the community, the safety and security of those officers, the integrity of where he's at, that city. And so they have to do what they have to do to put him down, and put him down they did. Now, what makes this story a little bit more odd than a lot of times, usually when it's a shootout with the cops, they're able to get the man to lay it down, or they shoot him. But in this case, they rammed him down with the car. Was that a little excessive? That's what they chose to do in this case. Maybe, just maybe, that was the only option that they had to incapacitate him, was to run him over. But they ran him over pretty bad, drug. Like I said, there's a video going around of it. It's pretty tragic, right? But the aftermath is why I'm here. People saying, oh, man, they did too much. He needs his due justice. And look, man, that man did a whole bunch of crime. And rather than do a whole bunch of time, he's done. It's pretty much up to you to figure out what side of the aisle you fall on. Do you believe that was overkill by the police officers and they went out of the box and getting this man down? Or do you believe he had it coming? Hey, life's a risk, carnal. When you go out there and you're doing crime, no one deserves to die for nothing other than fucking beating and touching kids and stuff. Then you deserve whatever you get, right? I'm not going to say the word, but when you're out there stealing cars and carjacking old ladies and shooting at cops and beating people up and robbing stores and committing robberies, like, you're a menace to society. You're definitely, you're on your old dog shit. Not just don't give a fuck, right? Well, let me tell you, Muhammad Hussein didn't give a fuck, and neither did them officers. They gave a fuck to a certain point. But once you shot one in the head, don't expect them to give two fucks, because they're not. Not at all. Anyways, that's what went down this week in the city of San Jose, and the city of San Jose is still reeling right now. I talk to my homeboy every day from San Jose, and he's like, bro, you see that shit that went on, the real life GTA? I'm saying, yeah, that shit was crazy. And I picked up on it from a distance, but then when I have homeboys actually telling me about it, I'm like, damn. And he's detailed out the game. He's like, this is exactly what happened, where it took place. It's all over social media, man. Places like, I think ESSJ Times, San Jose Activities, all those big platforms on Instagram. I'll be watching that shit. That's where it's all at, man. Two of my favorites out there is the ESSJ Times and San Jose Activities. They got all the hype and dope shit. They let you know what's really going on in the city of San Jose, from a very good perspective. So go trip out on that. Go tap in, go support. But even more so than that, man, let your kids know, man, those games, they're just games. Because when you have people that do things that resemble the games, like I said, kids might think, oh, shit, that's cool. But it isn't. Muhammad Hussein lost his life. There's an officer suffering with a gunshot wound to the head. And there's a fucking community reeling because they seen Grand Theft Auto in HD. With that being said, let me know what you guys think. Do you think it was overuse of force, excessive force? Or do you believe they had to do what they had to do to bring this animal down? Now, I say animal, and I say because he was doing animalistic behavior. Okay? When you're out there snatching up old ladies, shooting at cops, doing all this, they got to do what they got to do. That's the side I stand on. I don't think they did too much. I think they did just enough to bring him down. And you know what? Who would have known where those bullets were flying? And when you're in a shootout with cops, their bullets are flying too. It's just crazy. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly and honestly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. Even people that are doing bad shit, man. I hope they can get better. I hope they can get greater later. Before there is no later. Like Muhammad Hussein, right? This video is sponsored by Vario Liquors out there in Turlock, California, in the Central Valley. If you're ever in Turlock, California, pull up at the Vario, go get you something cold to drink and tell him Gun sent you, man. His name is Lally, man, and he's got you. Also by Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in Arizona, man. Google the homeboy, and if he's in your direct area, let him pull up. and weed eat some shit. He's going to have you right. With that being said, let me know what you guys think, man. My prayers go to San Jose, man. A city that is just one thing after another after another. It's like Stockton, San Jose, Stockton, San Jose. Bang, bang. Gun gang. It's crazy out there.